And starting things off today, as harvest is winding down, crop producers will be weighing several decisions for the following season. One of the most considerations of all will be what type of seed you select. When determining which seed you'll utilize for the next growing season, it will be paramount to consider how the product you select will hold up against a variety of crop diseases. This is important when you consider nearly all of the diseases of corn and soy in the Cornhusker State are caused by pathogens that survive the winter in fields from year to year. More often than not, these pathogens survive in infested residue or crop debris from seasons past.
So for diseases of corn, there's a number of things you can do with your hybrid selection and placement of those numbers in the fields to help you reduce disease severity. One of the best examples is to select hybrids that are resistant to bacterial diseases in particular. And so, for example, we have Goss's bacterial wilt and blight. A lot of people haven't seen that in a few years and they may not be thinking about resistance, but those that have had a susceptible hybrid know that when we've had a little light hailstorm, they'll see that disease flare up and cost us a lot at the end of the season. And finally, for corn hybrid selection, many people may be aware that we've now observed tar spot move into the eastern part of the state. Well, tar spot is a disease it's going to be new to us, and it might not become severe immediately, but we do know that some hybrids vary in their reaction, and so I would visit with my seed company agronomist if you live in the easternmost counties in Nebraska, and especially in those areas where we did confirm tar spot this year, because that might help you reduce disease severity if we have favorable weather conditions and the disease really flares up. And so that'd be a good thing thinking forward about that disease management moving into 2022.
Tamra also tells us there are a few new developments you should know about when it comes to selecting soybean varieties that are resistant to diseases such as Phytophthora, root and stem rot.
Many people have reported seeing more of that disease in recent years, and we might have an explanation finally on why that is. Recent research that was published out of Nebraska and Iowa show us that the common resistance genes, the RPS 1C and 1K that we've been using for over a decade, is only effective against about 30% of our Phytophthora population in Iowa and Nebraska. And so it would really behoove us, if you have a Phytophthora problem, to make sure and look at some of those resistance genes and varieties that are available to you, selecting ones that may be more effective. And in that research, they showed that RPS 3A was the most effective. Although that one may only be available in about 10% of our commercially available hybrids, maybe try to pick a variety that does have that one, and it may help with Phytophthora next year. And if it's routinely a problem for you, just know that seed treatment fungicides containing metalaxyl and mefenoxam can still be efficacious, but you just need the higher rates of those products, or some of the newer compounds like ethoboxam can also be effective.
When it comes to selecting a disease-resistant seed, it's important to understand resistance does not equate to immunity. Furthermore, it's particularly critical that you understand your seed dealer's resistance rating scales.
So in plant pathology, we often talk about disease resistance, and so what we're talking to is the reduction in disease severity. It does not necessarily imply that we have immunity to any of these diseases we're talking about, and so keep that in mind. The other thing that I want to emphasize, though, is when you are looking through the hybrids and varieties that are available to you in a seed catalog, make sure you understand the rating scales that are in use, because often competing companies have opposing rating scales. For example, a 1 to 9 scale where 1 is good for one company, but for the other company a 1 is on the bad end. And so make sure you understand what exactly that rating scale means.